Water is the lifeblood of the Everglades and the South Florida economy. The Everglades watershed begins in the headwaters of the Kissimmee River and flows southward 70 miles into Lake Okeechobee. Historically, a shallow sheet of fresh water flowed for 100 miles from the southern edge of Lake Okeechobee to Florida Bay. The water moves slowly over the extremely flat Everglades landscape through the wetlands into coastal bays and estuaries, creating a river of grass. Today, this diverse mosaic of landscapes and seascapes supports a complex natural and man-made ecosystem linked by flowing water. Human development altered the South Florida landscape. Drainage projects in the greater Everglades watershed began in the Kissimmee River Basin and the upper Caloosahatchee wetlands in the 1880s. By the 1920s, 6 major canals redirected water from Lake Okeechobee to the Atlantic and Gulf coasts. During the 1930s, a levee system was constructed around much of Lake Okeechobee, and by the 1950s, the northern Everglades were diked and drained to form the Everglades agricultural area. By the 1960s, the central Everglades were enclosed with levees forming 5 water conservation areas. The overall goal of this project was reclaiming the swamp to promote agricultural and urban development. By the early 20th century, this combination of land use and water management actions disrupted the Everglades' natural water flow and ecosystem functioning. By the 1980s, the adverse impacts of drainage and development in South Florida were well recognized. The state of Florida and the federal government began major land acquisition programs and several localized restoration projects in the Kissimmee River and southern Everglades. Everglades restoration goals. The primary goal of Everglades restoration is to reverse the major unintended impacts to the natural system attributed to the Central and Southern Florida Flood Control Project. These impacts include extreme fluctuations in Lake Okeechobee water levels, damaging discharges to the Caloosahatchee and St. Lucie estuaries, detrimental water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater and coastal habitats, unsuitable freshwater flows to Florida Bay, Biscayne Bay, and the Lake Worth Lagoon, and degraded water quality that creates imbalances of native flora and fauna. Foundation projects. The earliest major Everglades restoration projects began in the 1990s. These projects are referred to as foundation projects because most predate the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan authorization. The full CERP benefits are dependent on their successful completion. Kissimmee River Restoration. The project will restore portions of the historic Kissimmee River and its floodplain by backfilling and plugging the C-38 canal and improving operations in the upper chain of lakes. These actions will reduce extreme fluctuations in Lake Okeechobee water levels, reduce damaging discharges to the Caloosahatchee and St. Lucie estuaries, and improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats. Modified water deliveries to ENP, Canal 111 South Dade, Combined Operational Plan, and Tamiami Trail Next Steps. These projects will construct features to elevate and bridge Tamiami Trail to improve water conveyance into Shark River Slough and Taylor Slough and reduce groundwater seepage while maintaining South Miami-Dade flood control. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats, increase freshwater flows to Florida Bay, and improve water quality. Everglades Construction Project Long-Term Plan and Restoration Strategies. These projects will construct man-made wetlands and water storage basins to retain and treat Everglades runoff to achieve state water quality criteria in the Everglades. Herbert Hoover Dike Rehabilitation, Lake Okeechobee System Operating Manual. These projects will improve the Herbert Hoover Dike to allow it to safely retain Lake Okeechobee inflows while balancing the health of Lake Okeechobee and outflows needed to meet agricultural, urban, and environmental water supply demands. These actions will reduce extreme fluctuations in Lake Okeechobee water levels, reduce damaging discharges to the Caloosahatchee and St. Lucie estuaries, improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats, and improve freshwater flows to Florida Bay, Biscayne Bay, and the Lake Worth Lagoon. The Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan Generation 1. The Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan, or CERP, was authorized in the Water Resource Development Act of 2000. The first two CERP projects were authorized in the Water Resources Development Act of 2007. Picayune Strand Restoration Project. This project will remove historic roads and backfill canals to restore sheet flow in the Picayune Strand and adjacent wetlands. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats. Indian River Lagoon South C44 Reservoir and STA, C23, C24, C25 reservoirs and STAs. These projects will construct storage reservoirs, water quality treatment features, and natural storage areas in the north and south forks of the St. Lucie River to manage local basin and Lake Okeechobee inflows. These actions will reduce extreme fluctuations in Lake Okeechobee water levels, reduce damaging discharges to the St. Lucie estuary, improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater and coastal habitats, and improve water quality. CERP Generation 2. The next four CERP projects were authorized in the Water Resources Development Act of 2014. Biscayne Bay Coastal Wetlands. This project will redirect point source canal discharges into the downstream coastal wetlands and increase dry season deliveries to Biscayne Bay. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater and coastal habitats and improve freshwater flow to Biscayne Bay. C111 Spreader Canal Western Project. This project will increase water flows into Taylor Slough and reduce groundwater seepage losses. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats and improve freshwater flows to Florida Bay. Caloosahatchee River West Basin Storage, C43 Reservoir. This project will construct a large storage reservoir and water quality treatment facilities along the Caloosahatchee River to manage local basin runoff and regulatory flows from Lake Okeechobee and enhance flows into the Caloosahatchee estuary. These actions will reduce extreme fluctuations in Lake Okeechobee water levels, reduce damaging discharges to the Caloosahatchee River and its estuary, and improve water quality. Broward County Water Preserve Areas. This project will restore transitional wetlands between the Everglades and western Broward County developed areas and reduce groundwater seepage from the Everglades. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats. CERP Generation 3 and 4. The Central Everglades Planning Project, or CEP, was authorized in the Water Resources Development Act of 2016. CEP South. This project will remove levees and backfill canals to improve marsh connectivity in the Central Everglades and enhance sheet flow into northeast Shark River Slough. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater and coastal habitats and improve freshwater flows to Florida Bay and Biscayne Bay. CEP EAA Reservoir and STA. This project will construct a large reservoir and man-made wetlands to store and treat Lake Okeechobee flows before they are discharged southward into the Everglades. These actions will reduce extreme fluctuations in Lake Okeechobee water levels, reduce damaging discharges to the Caloosahatchee and St. Lucie estuaries, improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats, improve freshwater flows to Florida Bay, Biscayne Bay, and the Lake Worth Lagoon, and improve water quality. CEP North. This project will degrade levees and backfill canals to redistribute water flows into northern Everglades wetlands and promote southward sheet flow. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in the Everglades freshwater habitat and improve freshwater flows to Florida Bay and Biscayne Bay. CEP New Water. This project will reduce groundwater seepage from northeast Shark River Slough and enhance flood protection in South Miami-Dade County. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater and coastal habitats and increase freshwater flows to Florida Bay and Biscayne Bay. Loxahatchee River Watershed Restoration. This project will restore headwater wetlands and enhance flows into the Loxahatchee National Wild and Scenic River. These actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats and improve freshwater flow to the Lake Worth Lagoon. CERP planning projects. These CERP projects are anticipated to be authorized in the Water Resources Development Acts of 2024, 2026, and 2028. Lake Okeechobee Watershed Restoration Project. This project is expected to construct below-ground water storage using large-scale aquifer storage and recovery to improve the management of Lake Okeechobee inflows from the Kissimmee watershed. If implemented, these actions will reduce extreme fluctuations in Lake Okeechobee water levels, reduce damaging discharges to the Caloosahatchee and St. Lucie estuaries, and improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats. Western Everglades Restoration Project. This project is expected to remove levees and backfill canals to reestablish sheet flow and improve water quality for flows entering Seminole and Miccosukee tribal lands and the Big Cypress National Preserve. If implemented, these actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater habitats and improve water quality. Biscayne Bay Southeastern Everglades Ecosystem Restoration. This project is expected to construct water storage and seepage management features in western Miami-Dade County and redirect canal flows into the southeastern coastal wetlands and nearshore areas of Biscayne Bay. If implemented, these actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater and coastal habitats and increase freshwater flows to Biscayne Bay. Southern Everglades Project. This project is expected to enhance sheet flow, improve seepage management, and water conveyance in the central and southern Everglades and the East Coast buffer. If implemented, these actions will improve water depths and flooding durations in Everglades freshwater and coastal habitats and increase freshwater flows to Florida Bay and Biscayne Bay.